How you doing?
A successful life can be measured in many ways. But for Don,
make sure Carol has enough,
and Winnell Ware,
yummy, yummy,
there is only one.
A life lived just for yourself is not of value. A life lived for other people is of value. Volunteer work in this community is really a big thing. We have a lot of people that do things for others.
Winnell is a retired nurse, and Don is both the editor of the newspaper and the mayor in a town so idyllic, filmmakers used it as the backdrop for the movie Stand By Me.
So darling,
we have a lot of visitors because of the movie.
And long before it was popular, the Wares adopted children from other countries, 2 from Korea and 1 from Vietnam. They were helped by Holt International Children's Services, an adoption agency in Eugene, Oregon.
They were the first people to do international adoption.
By 1980, the Wares had a packed house, raising 5 children on a modest income. That's when Winnell received a letter that would change my family's life.
Are to be evacuated.
After the fall of Saigon to the Communist North Vietnamese Army, April 30th, 1975, roughly 2 million Vietnamese who were linked to the U.S. remained, many of them living in fear on the losing side of the war. Among them, my parents, Vicky Nguyen and Lien Do. Huy had served as a medic for the South Vietnamese Army. Lien worked for Holt in Saigon. She and her co-workers helped babies and children, many of them orphans, evacuate Vietnam at the end of the war in what would later be called Operation Baby Lift. It would be 4 more years before Huy and Lien could plan their own escape by boat.
We know that relatives own boat, and sooner or later they're gonna plan an escape. Yeah.
And the night we left was very dark.
It was April 3rd, 1979, and I was a bald-headed baby. How do you do something like that with an 8-month-old baby?
Which is you.
Yeah, we just carry you and cover you as much as possible. Make sure you don't get wet.
We fled with my 2 uncles and a great aunt. A family friend, a fisherman with a boat, captained the voyage with 68 souls on board, including 18 children.
This was scary if I think about it now. If I were to make this decision, maybe I would just scared to do it.
We were stopped by communist Vietnamese police on our way to the ocean.
They stopped us in the middle of the night.
They robbed us, but we avoided being jailed for trying to escape Vietnam. But once on the open water, another danger: pirates preying on refugee boats.
They pull out a gun and they shoot it in the air. After 2 hours, they suddenly just turn around and left. So we were so relieved. And then we pray that we're not going to encounter any other group.
It's unknown how many Vietnamese died on those journeys, some from the elements, others killed by pirates lost at sea.
We have to say that we were so lucky.
After 2 days and nights on the ocean, we arrived here, a refugee camp in Pulau Bidong, Malaysia. 50,000 refugees crowded that tiny island the size of a football field. For 9 months, we waited for a sponsor to America. After the fall of Saigon, refugees waited to see which country would offer them a new home. Some would leave the camp after just 4 months. The wait for the U.S., twice as long or longer. The refugees were told you could get off the island sooner if you went to Canada or Australia or France. Why did you hold out for America?
We know America is going to be better than those countries. Yeah, bigger and better. So yeah, we wait.
I do remember the letter coming in. I remember everybody in the Holt office saying, "There's a letter, and we need to do something."
Dean Hale has worked at Holt International Children's Services in Eugene since 1975. The letter he remembers is the one my mom wrote.
I'm an employee, of Holt, and I'm at the camp right now. I need you to sponsor our family. Pretty soon they responded.
By 1980, Winnell and Don Ware were raising 5 children on a modest income. But after Winnell received my mother's letter to Holt asking for a sponsor, it was not a question of can or will.
It was, why not? I opened the mail that day, and I read that letter, and that's it. As far as I'm concerned, they're coming. I mean, it's just what you do.
During that time, there were a lot of refugees coming from Vietnam, and many churches around the country were doing this.
The Ware family and staff at Holt marshaled the members of 2 churches in Eugene, the Wesley United Methodist Church and Our Savior's Lutheran Church. They rallied to receive a family from half a world away. We arrived in March of 1980, first touching down at San Francisco International, then taking a bus across the Golden Gate Bridge to Travis Air Force Base. My parents will never forget their first meal in America.
Fried chicken with mashed potato and some cornbread. And everybody, like it because it's different. Everybody got a fairly thick jacket also.
With just those jackets, 2 changes of clothes, and $100, we took flight the next morning to Eugene, Oregon, to start life in the United States.
When you got here, what were you hoping your lives would be like?
We know that we're gonna have a good life, because this is America, and we know we have a lot of freedom, a lot of opportunity.
Where did you get this idea of what America would be like?
Oh, we read about America.
And now a KEZI.
My family's arrival in 1980.
You don't have U.S. citizenship, do you?
No.
Chronicled by the local news crew from KEZI.
They give us enough food, and we just stay there and wait.
Are you happy to be in the U.S.?
Oh, yeah, sure.
My family moved many times over the years, first to Reno, Nevada, where my mother dealt blackjack and my father washed dishes for Harris on the graveyard shift. I spent kindergarten as a Rita Cannon Eagle. Then it was on to San Jose. Long before companies like Google had their own gourmet cafeterias, tech employees lined up in the parking lot at lunchtime to grab a burger, burrito, or spaghetti from my parents' catering truck. They eventually opened the first Vietnamese-owned furniture store in Santa Rosa, Contemporary Design, the name conspicuously similar to Scandinavian design across the street.
I'd like to welcome you to Alaska Airlines Flight 21.
35 years after their arrival to America was recorded on local TV, I'm the news crew, an investigative reporter.
All right, ready.
Capturing our return to Oregon.
1, 2, 3. Okay, got it.
Eugene, Oregon. Roughly the size of Sunnyvale, home to the University of Oregon Ducks and the unlikely refuge of 6 Vietnamese immigrants. My parents, my uncles, my great aunt, and me.
So this is the first place we lived when we came to the United States?
Yeah.
March 10th, 1980, so it's been almost exactly 35 years. There's a picture of me holding my blankie on a clothesline, and I guess it was taken back here.
And we carried it all the way from Vietnam to here. And I don't remember how long you keep it until it's falling apart.
All 6 of us lived in this apartment.
We were skinny, so the 3 of us fit on a full-size mattress.
Rent now is $600. Back then, it was $250. My parents bought a Plymouth, their first car, and enrolled in classes at Lane Community College.
I studied welding technology, and Mom studied accounting.
He also drove a campus patrol car for one day.
Going around the campus and, see, report any suspicious activity. The dispatcher, she worried that I'm gonna do it wrong.
They put you on foot patrol?
Yeah, they put me on foot patrol.
Meanwhile, I did my best to fit in.
Is this where I got my perm?
Yes.
Yep, right here in this house.
This is your salon.
At the age of 3,
Yeah.
you let me get a perm.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, that's what you wanted.
Times and styles have changed.
Hello, Dan.
But the deep bond between our family and the people who helped us has not waned.
Very long time no see.
Over the years, Don and Winnell Ware kept track of us, sending cards and letters.
It's nice to see you.
But it's my first time seeing them since I was a kid, able to appreciate exactly what they did.
Thank you for making this happen.
The exchange of memories spanning 35 years, only this time without the barrier of language.
They speak simple English, easy to understand.
We have better English now, right?
For the first time, my parents learned about the massive campaign the Wares launched, taking responsibility for an entire family.
Remember the apartment that you rented for us?
They collected furniture,
I'm trying to recall who donated what.
found food from our native country,
We saw a bag of rice, uncooked rice, and then fish sauce ready in a cup form.
and gave us this sweet color TV
That's your big TV set, your famous TV set.
with a 9-inch screen.
We watch 3 companies to learn English.
Funny the things you remember after 35 years.
That I made this cheesecake. I was really proud of the cheesecake.
Potluck.
And your dad took one bite and went, ooh.
I didn't like it.
And then he served us something that I didn't like.
And then he said, oh, I didn't like your pudding, either.
Then we decided we were even, so we just laughed.
Laughed so hard because that, so funny.
Yeah.
And some things never change.
Yeah, I know she's on the phone already.
Over the years, Holt staff lost touch. The agency hit tough times in 1980, but today it's thriving in a new space.
Hi, Didi.
We tracked down the few remaining staffers who last saw us in 1982. Dean Hale,
It's been a long time.
So is this your daughter?
Yes.
Kevin Sweeney,
Vicky, really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I think I met you last when I was 1, so.
Well, do you remember that?
and Cindy Muniz.
Oh my goodness. It's so good to see you.
And I brought pictures to show you.
Oh, I have some picture too.
Oh,
so
good.
We can share. Yeah, come on.
At the old Holt office, the desk where my mom worked her first job, typing letters to update sponsors on the children they were helping. Pictures not yet moved to the new Holt building, a rich history built on helping families find hope.
Wow, I didn't think I'd see this moment again, so it's real exciting.
Oh my.
A flurry of photos brings us back to many firsts.
Am I turning 2 or 1, Mom?
2.
My first American birthday, celebrated in the office. No friends yet, but I did have 2 homemade cakes.
You got gifts and presents and everything.
I'm sure we made
Yeah.
a particular effort
Yeah.
for you. I mean, you
Yes.
didn't have family and friends here, and so everybody kind of adopted the family.
My father's first ride on one of these.
First week or so that you were here, we took you to the county fair.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
And we got you on some of the amusement rides.
He remembered that all his life.
A little bit dizzy, but
Yeah.
I recover.
We're at the Holt picnic and we're having a good time, and I was a lot thinner, and I think part of it was that you are such wonderful people and that you are very easy to know and to love and to want to help.
Like so many Vietnamese resettling in America, my family was bolstered by the generosity of people they had never met.
It was pretty exciting. I mean, we were, happy to help, and it was pretty extraordinary to have somebody who worked for Holt in Vietnam show up in Eugene, Oregon. Not an easy trip, right?
That was the style back then.
I was happy that I got a chance to do this and to meet our own friend and sponsor. Yeah, it was fun, really fun to talk to them again.
We really, really in our heart very appreciate what they did for our family, and I want them to know that with their help, that's what happened to us.
There are many ways to measure a life well lived.
A life lived for other people is of value, and only others really know whether what you've done is really of value or not.
And because of the open hearts of the Ware family and their friends, our family has lived an extraordinary life.